Thank you.
We're only
I
listening.
should have known that.
The live one.
George, we're live.
Excuse me?
We're live. Brooke, I'm sorry, I can't find it again. How do I get into this thing? Into. Whatever you call that. YouTube? Yeah. 7-1 at YouTube, where it's all listed.
Anyway, right around
Over
there.
here.
Would probably be best, because we are actually live streaming this year, and that might be the best for the
Sure.
out, bring you up nice and
George,
fuzzy.
here's some. Thanks.
So you're our first presenters this afternoon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
Well, sure, if we put you to sleep, then it's definitely on us.
so you guys have approximately 30 minutes for your presentation.
Okay.
I'll set a timer for 25 minutes, so if that goes off, we know we need to wrap up because hopefully somebody's right on your heels.
Okay, sure.
So please identify yourselves, who you're with, and what your project is so that it's for the record. And whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay, great, thanks. George, does everybody have a packet?
Yes, everyone's good. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. My name is Anthea Stebbins. I'm the Director of Dauphin County Parks and Recreation, and with me today are my colleagues Kayla Harbert and Christian Barber. Hi. As you well know, Dauphin County Parks and Recreation is growing. We now manage over 1,000 acres of public trails and open space. We provide over 400 education and recreation-based programs and festivals, elevating local history, arts, culture, and conservation. And our park system now sees over 900,000 visitors annually. What you might not know is that less than a year ago, the Parks Department was honored by the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society with the 2024 Agency of the Year Award. Among many other things, the award recognizes, thank you, recognizes exemplary accomplishments in positioning parks and recreation as an essential public service with meaningful community impact. I know nobody likes a braggart. I share this with you not to boast, but to let you know that our department does not take the investments your board has made over the years for granted. That we're working hard every day to make a profound and meaningful difference in this community. That we're serious about our dedication to pursuing and inspiring excellence in public park services, and that it's working. So with the help of the Local Share Municipal program, we've added 411 acres to our park system in 2016, and opened what we've all come to know and love as Detweiler Park. Kayla will cover the capital projects we're currently working on. Detweiler sees an average of 1,400 guests per month, has a 4.6 star rating from over 700 reviews on the popular app AllTrades. And since our last presentation, Detweiler Park has gained one of the most important assets a park can have, the establishment of a dedicated Friends group. The Friends of Detweiler Park officially incorporated for the sole purpose of supporting the park. While waiting for their 501c3, they already launched their membership campaign. We're very excited about the new partnership and the opportunities it brings. Over the past 3 years, the Parks Department has secured $3.3 million to widen State Route 225 with turning lanes and construct a park entrance, event lawn, accessible loop trail, pavilion, and a restroom facility. And we're almost there, but we still need help. And we're asking for $149,925 local share grant to support 2 park projects. First is the loan debt for the road widening. I'm requesting $24,925 to cover the payments of our Dauphin County Infrastructure Bank loan through June of next year.
Can I interrupt here?
Yes,
As you give us what you're asking for, is this your priority as well?
yes.
Okay.
That's correct. Thank you for asking. General fund money is our only backup to pay the loan.
Hi.
In this very unique case, we had no choice but a low-interest loan since the 2 state grants we applied to were not awarded. The second is for phase 2 of the entrance project. We're requesting $125,000 to partially fund the remaining $343,000 it has taken to complete funding for the pavilion and the restroom. It's taken quite a while for permitting and fundraising to get where we are. Phasing and inflation have created a funding gap, but once the capital projects are complete, revenue from the new facilities will help us to cover the maintenance costs at the park. Kayla?
Thank you, Anthea. So everyone received a blue folder, and in that blue folder on the right-hand side, there is a packet that has a map along with a budgeting explanation and a table that explains the capital improvement projects. That is what I'm going to be discussing today. So the map that you have shows an aerial view of the project locations at Detweiler Park. All of the projects will take place on the west side of the park along State Route 225 or Peters Mountain Road. The first project that we have scheduled for completion is the road widening project, which is shown in blue along the left-hand side of the map. This project includes expanding State Route 225 to include both right and left-hand turn lanes, which will surround the main park entrance and create a safer driving experience for park users and commuters. After the completion of that project, work on phase 1 and phase 2 will begin. Phase 1 is shown in red and will include constructing a dedicated park entrance driveway, an ADA compliant parking lot with bus turnaround, accessible pathways, an event lawn, which is the oval on the map, a permanently affixed outdoor kiosk, entrance lighting, stormwater best management practices, and installation of necessary utilities. Phase 2 projects are highlighted in green on the map and will include constructing a 6-stall ADA accessible restroom, which is that little square in between the parking lot and the event lawn, a large pavilion with picnic tables with the ability to seat around 180 people, and that is the rectangle above the event lawn, accessible pathways, pavilion lighting, and installation of necessary utilities. The one handout, so the budget that's behind the map, so the next page after the map, that is the budget for phase 2 from Wilson Consulting that has a breakdown of all of the items included in that phase. So, and incorporated into phases 1 and 2 will be the fully ADA accessible loop trail. This is the orange trail on the map. that will encircle the airstrip loop field. And once completed, that will be a 1.4-mile trail and the first fully ADA accessible trail in Dauphin County, loop trail in Dauphin County. And then also, the last page in this packet is a list of all of the Detweiler Park capital improvement projects, their expenses, revenues, and source of revenue. The source of expense, which is the left column, those colors coincide with the colors on the map. And starting at the top for the road widening project, the revenue is equal to the expenses. For phase 1, the revenue is equal to the expenses. Phase 2, the revenue is $343,605 short of the expenses. And for the ADA loop trail, the revenue is again equal to the expenses. Project to request is for $125,000 for phase 2 of the Detweiler Entrance and Facilities project, which equates to 34% of the $343,605 funding gap. If awarded, the remaining will be covered by the CFA statewide local share account grant. Thank you. Anthea?
Thank you, Kayla. Next, Christian will present new information that shows how we're doing at leveraging our tax-based operating revenue and new findings about the role of outdoor recreation, both economically and holistically. Christian?
Thank you, Anthea. So included in your handout today, you'll see our department's 2023 funding highlight brochure. This shows the impact and importance of partnerships and grants in relation to funding our park system. Our goal is to limit the use of taxpayer dollars when it comes to maintaining and renovating our parks. Using grants, partnerships, and other sources of funding is necessary for us to do these types of projects. As you can see, the non-tax contributions is 46% of our overall funding, almost half of what it costs to maintain our parks. Grants were 31% of those contributions. This allows us to sustain our parks for many years down the road. But here's why our project at Detweiler Park is so important to our community. We know that parks boost our economy and bring outside foot traffic to our area, bringing money into our area that gets used on hotels, restaurants, and other recreational activities. In a 2023 Pennsylvania DCNR report, outdoor recreation added a value of $19 billion to the PA GDP. That's a 10% increase from the previous year. $1 billion from outdoor recreation events, $5.4 billion from tourism, with $1.3 of that going towards lodging. This is a growing industry that creates hundreds of thousands of jobs. But aside from the economic value that our parks provide, they also improve the quality of life and the health and well-being of our community. In a 2020 DCNR report, outdoor spaces in public parks improve mental health by promoting relaxation and reducing mental fatigue. 87% of Pennsylvanians report that they value having easy access to parks and green spaces for improving their overall happiness. So not only do we want people to come to our area, enjoy our parks and our surrounding attractions, but we want to improve our area for our current residents. The completion of Detweiler Park will be a large piece of increasing our value of our local economy and the well-being of our neighbors. Now I'll hand it back over to Anthea.
Thanks. Thank you, Christian.
Yep.
Before we close, I have some exciting news to share with you. After a very competitive RFP process, Dauphin County was selected as the host site for this year's Pennsylvania Greenways and Trails Summit. Dauphin County Parks and Recreation and Visit Hershey and Harrisburg will co-host the biennial summit in partnership with We Conserve PA and the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources this fall. We'll showcase regional conservation and recreation projects and provide educational sessions to an estimated 300 attendees from across Pennsylvania and surrounding states. Detweiler Park, the Capital Area Greenbelt, and the Hershey Mountain Biking Trails are among 3 of the 6 site tours showing exemplary projects that are scheduled to take place during the summit. The title of this year's summit is Capital Connections to Greener Pathways. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Very nice. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. I think it was Wilson Consulting who helped with this. Are their costs included in these costs?
Yes.
Okay. And an ADA trail, is that a paved trail of a certain width?
It is a paved
okay.
trail. In this case, it's a paved trail of 8 feet wide.
Okay. And you said 310 are attending this conference.
Yes, about
310 what?
300, about 300 people. I'm sorry,
Okay.
perhaps I
I thought you gave a letter
estimated
like.
300, I think I said 300 attendees.
Oh,
think I didn't
attendees. I
speak
heard the
clearly.
D and I'm like, what does D stand for? Okay. All right.
Sorry, I wasn't clear.
No, that's fine.
So I think you were awarded some money towards debt service last year.
That's correct.
What is remaining in the payoff if you, at this point?
Remaining in the total payoff or just, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't calculate that. So we took out a loan of 640,000 or so, and the DCI, or the grant award last year was 96,000. So we have somewhere in the 750,000 with interest remaining. That's a 15-year loan. And this 24 or about 25,000 would pay off our debt service through June of next year. We make 2 payments a year.
Do you get other monies to go towards that, or is it generally been the gaming grant?
Unfortunately, so we just took out the loan last year, and so gaming has provided the funding for that debt service to date.
Any other questions?
No, nice job.
Thank you.
Sorry, just quickly. I know you said that you had applied for a CFA statewide grant just recently. When do you expect that to be awarded or to find out?
It's our understanding that that may be awarded in May, June, July is the timeframe that we've heard about this. This is our first time applying for that funding source, so I don't have any prior experience.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
What township is Detweiler Park in?
Detweiler Park is in Middle Paxton
Is it?
Township.
Okay.
Well, thank you much. Good presentation.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Have a
Thank you
good
very
day.
much.
Thank you.
That was a pretty good presentation.
So?
You're very organized.
Fantastic. You?
Betsy, did you get it figured out?
I'm trying now.
How much time was left when that guy took that deal done? That was there. Yeah, I couldn't stay up.
What's that?
I couldn't stay up that late.
I saw it. That was it was pretty wild. When you hit that.
Yeah, from what I saw in the highlights, I couldn't tell whether it went through or came back.
It did. Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you saw the guys throw their hands up, and you're like, oh.
For a short funeral.
Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So you have approximately 30 minutes for your presentation. I see reading the schedule correctly. We are live streaming, So please speak clearly and enunciate the mics that direction.
Okay.
Also identify yourself and who you're with and the project that you're doing for the public record. If this timer goes off, we know we need to wrap it up because Middletown should be right behind you.
Okay,
Whenever you're ready, take it away.
all right, my name is Amy Burrell. I am the Borough Manager with Royalton Borough, and I am here presenting our project to build a public works building in our borough. So, as I stated, the Borough of Royalton is applying for funding to construct a public works building in our Kiwanis Park. We anticipate that within the scope of this project, Royalton will be able to have a 5-bay pole barn style building on a concrete pad. Our current public works operates out of a Quonset hut, if anybody knows what that is, but it's the dome-shaped metal huts that were used in the past. And this no longer meets the demands of our public works operation. This facility is outdated and it's insufficient in critical areas of space, aging infrastructure, and safety. Currently, all vehicles and equipment cannot be stored under roof in that hut, just due to lack of space. The overcrowding has resulted in having to leave some equipment and supplies open to the elements and unsecured. Royalton operates its own electric system, and the supplies for the system require a lot of storage space. And due to our lack of storage, items like transformers and utility poles have to be kept out in the elements, not under roof. And ideally, to extend their equipment life, we would like to get them in under roof. If we are able to complete this building project, the old hut that we currently have now would be used for storage of those electric supplies, just to get the poles and transformers and spools of wire in one location and under roof. The more adequate space will allow our Public Works Department the ability to properly maintain and make repairs on essential machinery. The current space does not allow for this. If the vehicles are all parked in the hut, they have to move vehicles out in order to have space to even work on another vehicle. So it is very tight for them to be able to do any sort of maintenance. If funding permits, the building will have water and sewer utilities for the installation of a restroom, as well as a wash bay for servicing borough vehicles. All utility services are currently within the area to be tapped into. Another goal of the building is for it to also serve as a satellite emergency operations center and/or shelter in the event of emergency or flooding event. As a small borough, we try to utilize resources in multiple ways to maximize funding and use. Royalton Borough is a flood-prone community, and the location of this new proposed public work building will be an ideal location for the Royalton Emergency Management to set up and support efforts, as it is a walkable location to our flood zone neighborhood. This, we feel, will keep flood victims closer to their properties and foster an environment of emotional support among residents currently going through the same situation. The current Emergency Operations Center is located in our upper ward within our Borough Hall and has space to effectively support approximately 40 people, but this is not located in the flood zone neighborhood. The project budget for the Royalton Public Works Building is $175,000. We are seeking $150,000 from the gaming grant program. An additional $25,000 will be budgeted in the Royalton Borough General Fund budget. Additional construction components of the project, electrical installation of interior utilities. There is some tree removal that needs to be done. That will be all done in-house with borough personnel. And it's not included in our budget. We have obtained standard plans for the building from the manufacturer, but we have not moved forward with the additional creation of sealed plans, but they are available from the manufacturer, and we'll move forward with that when we have the funding secured. We do know that a FEMA elevation survey will be needed to be completed in accordance with the FEMA Community Rating System Program guidelines. Royalton is a CRS community, so we do follow the guidelines of that to keep our standing within that program. It has been determined by borough engineers that the proposed location for the new building is within the 500-year flood zone. In an effort to maximize our efforts to secure funding, we have also submitted to the local share
account statewide gaming game program in the same amount in hopes that between the two programs, we can try to secure the funding that is needed. If not fully funded, we would like to at least get the funding to start with the pole barn structure and the concrete pad, and then anticipate being able to add utilities as we move forward and funding becomes available. So as I stated, the current facility does not function for the needs of our borough anymore. Our council has been working diligently to be able to secure grant funding and operate our budget in a way that modernizes our borough operations without placing a tax burden on our residents. For 2025, the borough's fire tax was raised. Electric rates will be experiencing a 14% increase, as well as an increase in our refuse fees. We are currently working on a new sewer treatment agreement, which we anticipate will bring an increase of rates to our residents as well. With our limited budget, we must be resourceful and seek out funding opportunities that we can run efficient operations. Thank you for your consideration. We are always grateful for any funding we can receive, and that the gaming grant is available to help our smaller communities with advancements in services and completing projects without having to put the financial burden on our taxpayers. And that is all I have.
If money was no object, and it always is, would you build 7 bays instead of 5?
I mean, sure, money was no object. Do we need 7 bays?
Mhm.
No.
Okay, so 5's enough.
5's enough.
Okay.
Yes.
So you indicated, for lack of a better term, that you will be doing like in-kind services.
Correct.
Could you monetize that and send that in later? Because that helps understand how much you're leveraging, because right now you're only putting down 25,000, I think.
Okay.
And this would increase the amount that you would actually be put towards the project with your in-kind services.
Sure, I can do that.
So, is it typical for a borough to operate its own electric grid?
Not typical. I think there's, in this area, like 10 maybe municipalities.
I think there's 2 in Berks County.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot, but we do operate our own municipal electric system. I know Middletown Borough does as well. There's a few of us, yes.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. I can see Middletown with its proximity to 3 Mile Island and what's going on there.
And Middletown, this goes back 100 years.
Wow.
It seems to be the older boroughs that do stuff.
And there's no way to get out of that, I guess, business.
I guess we could sell off our electric system to that NPL.
That can be an idea.
Residents.
The people who have sold off their sewer plants were getting hammered in the last 8 years. But there's a big push statewide to stop this.
Any other questions?
So this is gonna go on Kiwanis Park, or proposed to go on Kiwanis Park?
Correct.
Is that gonna interfere with, I'm just looking at the aerial now because I wasn't familiar with it. Is that going to interfere with the ball field or anything?
No. Where this would be is not in the ball field area, and we should be able to run utilities that we will not have to go through the ball field to access those.
Okay. Are there any offices or anything else in the building?
No, we're just planning a garage poles barn style building. If we would receive full funding from this program and potentially receive a good amount of funding from the statewide program, we may put our public works office in there if money will allow.
Okay, so for now, it's just a garage.
For now, we do the garage.
All right, thank you.
Do you own that entire, you own the ball field,
Mhm.
the pavilion, that whole area?
That whole
is the
area,
borough's?
yes.
When is the statewide grant done? Or
When?
looking to award?
That's what's in June, July,
June, July?
yeah, May, June, July of this year, hopefully. They never give me an exact date.
When did you sit for, I'm sorry?
We would have just submitted the
November.
last round that
Yeah.
was due, so,
Yeah, end of November,
yeah.
2024.
And you're,
Did you retain that from the last applicant?
Good.
Is the borough operation now is in, your offices are in the old school?
Correct, yes, yes,
And do you own that facility?
we did,
You own that whole thing and have that all that green space there also behind it?
correct,
and that?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed putting this building behind that building, but some of the neighbors weren't actually on board with that, which I would understand as well, so.
Yeah, it makes
Just down at the
sense.
park,
It's next to
yes,
the
there are
road,
no
and,
homes
yeah,
right
it's
there,
away from
yes.
things and- Yeah, really, I'm sure the park's used. I
Yes,
think baseball's there during the season.
and that's it, yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Always nice to see everybody. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I like that the clarity on this thing is so bad, but it's got no problem showing my thinning part over here. That comes through perfectly.
Oh, my.
It's called solicitor stress.
Way ahead. Well,
What's that?
I don't know about that. Sir,
30 minutes.
Well, do
So
you
for
know the
this-
date that you sent that thing?
the link.
I can send it to you.
Because then I'll try to send it to my, what's that, that's called that iPad thing.
Wait,
What's under middle company? Everything fired?
I sent it the first day of the evening hearings.
So that would have been last Monday,
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday. So,
Let's see if I can try that. Video as well.
that's right there.
I see it.
Good afternoon.
Hello, hello.
Middletown Borough.
Hey, how are you?
How's everybody?
Good.
Good.
Is this into the borough? Middleton?
Yeah.
Yes.
Back and forth. So, good afternoon. Gentlemen have 30 minutes for your presentation. We are live streaming for the first time in our gaming grant history, right? Well, maybe not the first time. We've had other days, but for this session or round, shall we say. The mic is over that way, so if you wouldn't mind speaking up and speaking clearly. Also identify yourselves, who you're with, even though we just said Borough of Middletown 3 times. Let's just be clear. So whenever you're ready, I'll start a timer that's set for 25 minutes. If that goes off, I'll have to wrap things up. So whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you.
There is a clicker in front of you to work the PowerPoint.
Okay,
And down progresses the slide.
all right. Thank you very much. My name is Ken Kleinpeter. I'm the Borough Manager for the Borough of Middletown. And with me today is Matt Miller. He's our Superintendent of Parks, Streets, and Buildings. And our presentation today is on a request for funding for our Fry Manor Park. And as you see there on the title slide, Fry Manor Park play equipment consists of what you see on that picture. That's it. It's a very small play equipment. The park's large. The park has 2 baseball fields, girls softball and a little league field. And also has a basketball court, which you can't see in the picture. And so we're going to be talking about just this play structure area today. Okay? So let me move forward to our, you say down?
Yeah, down arrow is like with advance. finances.
Oh, wait, hang, I'm sorry.
Is it on?
Let
Turn it on
me
the
see.
side.
Power on?
Yeah, it's on the side.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah,
I see something closer. That would help.
Okay.
One moment. There it should work. Or I can just flip through.
If you could advance it for me, that'd be great.
Yeah.
There it goes. I'll just, you just,
Okay, we're just expanding a little bit here on what we're requesting,
Yeah, we had it backwards.
okay? Oh, thank
There
you.
you go.
We're requesting funds for the 2024-2025 local share municipal grant application for improvements to Fry Manor Park. We list our tax parcel ID there. The location of this park is at 932 Hopper Street, which you'll see on one of our next slides is at the sort of the northeast quadrant of Middletown. And we are the owners of the site. The borough engaged in a community-wide study called Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Study prior to this date to determine what our needs are on our overall park system. And this particular park, Fry Manor, was listed as a high priority to replace by our engineers.
Ken, did you expand? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you expand this park when the borough took properties there, right, after the last flood? FEMA turns back to,
Yeah, this particular property was not expanded.
there's not expansion, so you're not incorporating other properties
No.
into this, or?
Yeah, the
I know
borough,
it's a large area.
yeah, the borough does have some open space south of this site
Mm-hmm.
that was obtained through these FEMA buyouts from the 2011 flood.
11.
Yeah, I think it was 11 Lee flood.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave us 12.
But this park is always, as long as I can remember, and I've been somehow related and worked for the borough for over 40 years. I've been the manager there since 2016, but prior to that,
Right.
I worked as utility director and also public works director. So Middletown, a little bit about Middletown, which I have a lot of knowledge, but I just touch on a few things here because I was born and raised in Middletown. I currently live just outside of Middletown, but either born and raised or worked there all my life, right? Current population about 9,600 people. The median income, as you can see, is a little under $55,000 a year. And you compare that to Dauphin County's median average income of $74,000. And you see one of the reasons why we're asking for help. Middletown residents fall well short of that median average. We operate 27 miles of roadway. We have 7 parks, 3 ball fields, 2 basketball gyms. But you'll see there that Middletown in 2020, after COVID, closed its pool. And initially it was closed because of COVID, but eventually it remained closed because of finances. Costs skyrocketed and we are no longer able to afford to run a public pool. So this was also part of the PRO's Parks and Recreation study that Fry Manor was incorporated into. So a little bit about Middletown's housing, a few pockets of suburbia type development. The center of the borough is a high density housing. Borough has seen a transition away from owner occupied homes to a lot of residential rentals because it is an older community. It is Dauphin County's oldest community. And because of that, the style of housing, there aren't a lot of yards. It's a lot of condensed housing. So over history, a lot of the, people who could go out into suburbia did move. And a lot of our properties became rentals. They began over a long period of time becoming a lot of rental properties. And as you know, we have nearby a college, so a lot of our housing, off-campus housing has become student housing. And so in order to sort of balance this reduction in revenue we were seeing because of the loss of homes through floods or the changes in type of ownership, The borough, also, a major thing we had to adjust to was at one time, borough does have its own electric utility. And at one time, we were able to fund a lot of our things with revenue from that, profits, so to speak, but those things went away many years ago. With new laws where you have to just charge electric utility for the electric system. So we had to adjust our budgets, and that meant adjusting our tax rate. And so with all those things, we ended up, today with a tax millage that is the 6th highest in Dauphin County, 11.161 mils, and an occupational tax that has increased to $150 per working resident. Okay, so another reason why we're here requesting funding for this project. We realize that we need to continue to put the best interest of the residents in mind, and that we can't always keep adding taxes because it negatively impacts them. They're already, I feel, burdened enough as borough residents and low-income residents, many of them, with high tax rates. At the same time, we recognize, that communities need good park systems, and especially a community like ours that has a high percentage of low-income residents who, number one, maybe don't have a yard and don't have the funds to take vacations or to buy play equipment, simple swing sets and so forth. So therefore, the main reason why we're humbly seeking your assistance. Here's a few side notes of support. Middletown Area Recreation Alliance has supported this project, as well as the Honorable Tom Mahaffey. And one of the things we wanted to point out and note that this is the first time since 2014 that the borough has come before this board and asked for a donation of funds. We have sponsored some other entities in the past, like our fire department. This is the first time we've asked specifically for a borough property. Here is, you see that big orange arrow in the lower right-hand corner. That's the location of where this play equipment is at Fry Manor Park. And you'll see just to the north of it is a mobile home park known as Harborton Place. And that was a home park that gave rise and came to be because of the 1972 flood. It was emergency housing back then. But since then, many years ago, it was sold to a private owner. And of course, the mobile homes are newer and been replaced. However, because of how it originated, there's no internal play area in that private park. So there's at least 100 or more mobile homes there. And if you look to the south, you'll see single family residents of another probably 200 or 300. Now, some of those that Mr. Tanal referred to as open space you can't see here, but south of that there is some open space from homes that were lost during the FEMA buyouts from reflood. But another thing of importance is to see this road right here. This is what we call Vine Street. This is a state road that connects Middletown with short stint through Lower Swinera Township, Londonderry, and connects to Hummelstown. But it connects to 283 Expressway, and then also further into Hummelstown to 322. So it's a fairly high traffic street. And for any parents who have young children or want to walk to get to a park, you'll see here, the next park is almost 3/4 of a mile away, Oak Hill Park, and they'd have to cross a busy highway to get to it. So that's the sole area. Now you can see here now more of the open space down here from the Lee flood, but all these homes here in the mobile home park would access this area.
Ken, where's the 100-year floodplain on that compared to the park location?
The park location is in the 100-year floodplain.
Yes.
Yeah. It's probably the edge of it is probably somewhere about here, roughly. However, that is one of the other things we looked at when we looked at the equipment and design it. So we're looking at equipment that can withstand water and also be cleaned up. The existing structure from the title page you saw, and we'll see here in the next slide, is made of wood. that holds contaminants and hard to clean and it rots. Okay. Here's a picture of the wood decking that is aged and dry rotted and beginning to rot there and have trip hazards. The plastic, and this park is at least 30 years old or more. Here the slide structure is cracked. Even some of the, this is the deck mat.
Yes.
It has rotted through. So it's a very old park in need of repairs and replacement. We did some temporary repairs to keep it open for the meantime. So this project will provide a new and safer play area and expanded play area and the ability to serve mobility impaired users, which the current one does not. All play equipment and safety surfacing will be wood carpet, will be installed as part of the project. And the borough is looking to expand that from the original play structure to adding a 4-bay swing and a 2-person seat accessory whirl. And you can see that in this picture here. So essentially, the structure we have is similar to this now, a wood structure, play structure, the existing one. This is the new all metal, all plastic, but we would be adding some swings, an accessory whirl, which we find is very popular. We have one of these in Hoffer Park, and then this piece of equipment as well.
Ken, I looked at these a couple years ago for another place, and somebody very nicely said to me, how will a child in a wheelchair get there?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any walkways, so I'm just, because I never thought about it until it was pointed out to me.
Yeah, that's a good point that you
Yeah, so-
raised, because we have one at Hoffer Park, and we are now planning to put, we're looking into the cost, weren't we, of putting the, oh no, we did put paved material. right?
Yeah, it's the
The white,
area right around the whirl itself is poured in place.
that's poured in place.
It's a rubberized material. Wood carpet is actually considered an ADA accessible material.
No, my thought is from their car that their parents drive them in.
So one of the things that we could look at doing is revising this to bring this out to the grass, because one of the things that Matt is planning to do with our own funds and his own labor is to actually put paved surface from the road into this playground, a walking surface.
Okay.
Because it's relatively flat in that area,
It is flat, yeah.
so that's one good thing to meet the slope.
There's just some closer, pictures of the equipment, but let's go here. Now, this is the access from the street, the sidewalk on the street here, back to that. Currently, it's just grass. We are proposing to, with our resources and money, to put a walkway, wide enough path back to it so that it can be ADA accessible. And this is just noting that we've already done some grubbing and clearing in that area and taken down a couple trees. A couple more trees are going to have to be taken down that aren't healthy, and we will provide that funding. Here's some of the cost numbers that we put together with that Matt put together with the help of our vendors and our engineers for equipment installation. Jumped a little too soon. Let me see if I can go back. This is a total. This is what we're looking to put in, almost $27,000, which is about 22% of what we're asking the county for, the board for. This is going to be a little harder to see, even for me, from my house, because my specs need to be a little bit stronger. But this breaks down the cost of the asphalt here, how much asphalt we need to get back to that play area. 50 tons of the base and 50 tons of the final surface, and also the topsoil and mulch that we would need, $14,000. We have tree services removal that we'll pay for. This is adding up to the $27,000 that we're looking to spend from our funds for this project. And then the balance of the 123 up here is what we're asking the board to fund, for a total of $149,900. These are the estimates that we received from George E. Lee Associates, the the group that we worked with to get the pricing for the equipment. And this just breaks down the next steps and timeline that we're looking at as far as preparing bidding documents and awarding a project and completing a project.
Will borough employees be doing some of this shrubbery and tree work, or is that farmed out?
Most of the shrubbery and tree work has already been taken care of. As Ken noted, there's one or two, we'll see in the springtime if some of the trees leaf out completely. There's one or two questionable ones there. But as you saw on the green picture versus the snow-covered picture, the park was actually kind of hidden back in a corner. And by removing a lot of stuff, it really opens it up. People can see more of what's going on there. And that may help keep nefarious individuals from utilizing.
And did borough employees do the removing of the trees?
Yes, we removed all of the stuff. We had a tree person come in and do the high work on the trees. Borough staff took care of all the shrubbery.
What you're seeing here is, this is looking from what, the parking area?
This is from Hopper Street. You can see the chain and the post is obviously see easy on the right one. The post is right there.
This post.
Yes. So you can see there were,
Opened it up.
yes, there were 12, 15 foot high arborvitaes with assorted other various trees and whatnot in there. So that's already been removed. We've graded that, we've seeded it.
That was one of the reasons we did that and how we always the police.
One of the big things was over the years, there's been some minor graffiti to the park area back there. Things will get spray painted at times. So by opening this up, it has a couple different things. I think it makes it look more welcoming. You can actually kind of see it from the street more versus being kind of tucked away. And it'll be easier to have not only the police, but anyone in the neighborhood kind of keep an eye on it, more so than people hiding back there doing whatever it is that they do. Another component for opening this is it'll provide us the place. We're proposing a 10-foot wide pathway back there so that we can access back there to do trash, maintenance, whatever, without having to drive on grass and make ruts or whatever. So it's kind of this portion of it has a couple of different benefits.
This area back here, not the play structure, but the area is also used by Seven Sorrows Football Association. It has been for years, and they practice in there in the fall. And you'll see parents with the smaller kids will hang out with this area. You can use the play equipment. But in the same way in baseball season, MABA uses the fields back there for
Softball uses it as well.
I think they play girls softball on the one field and Little League baseball on the other. So I think that brings us to any other questions. We humbly ask for your consideration and thank you for inviting us here today. And this time we can entertain any other questions you might have.
We did respond back to the 4 additional questions that have been sent to us. Has the borough sought any additional funding sources for the project? We have a couple of other park projects going on, and I noted those as well as the appropriate costs or approximate costs for those projects. So we're trying to just see if we can get this one taken care of without having to
Use our funds for spread it out. We're being pretty aggressive right now with our parks in Middletown. We realized that our old comprehensive plan had pushed for trails in the area and take advantage of the waters because Middletown is bordered by Susquehanna and Spadina Creek. We're tucked in there. We have no ability to grow as far as our tax base because we're a landlocked community and we're pretty much built out. Woodland Hills is building some final homes there. That's a little shot in the arm for tax revenue for us. But other than that, we're surrounded by a lot of great things, an airport, a train station, a college, and here we are tucked in there.
Wawa.
Yeah.
I love Wawa.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things going on there, and how can we draw people into the community that want to live there? And we're looking at parks as one way to do that. Let's make our parks nice. Let's take advantage of we're right now working on what we call a waterfront trail park. It's going to be expensive. We're also looking at replacing our pool, which is going to be very expensive. So we're leveraging a lot of other folks. We're leveraging DCNR and LSA for one of the projects. So we took this small project and thought, let's see if we can put that one before the county. And the reason that we're not putting any more funds in the 26,000 into this one is because we know we're going to have to put 50% match on some of these other projects. So we've
You
been,
mind if I borrow from you? Can you send in an estimate of what township costs have been so far by manpower?
oh, sure,
Because
Oh,
that
well,
adds to
done.
what you're contributing.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, costs were on the project budget. We did have, I can break it out by what has been done so far. But there is cost breakdown for staff and their hourly rate and how many hours it took to do
You say
things.
that's in here now?
Yes,
But you
Were you
don't break
saying
it
that's
out.
part of the 20-some thousand you're putting in?
I'm sorry.
Is that already accounted for in the 20-some thousand that you're putting in?
Yes,
The grubbing was done and you've counted for the
Oh, I
labor
thought
for the
that was
grubbing.
all hours. Okay.
yes.
And how about the labor?
I thought some of it was still omitted as
Yeah.
the way I
okay.
read myself.
All right.
I understand. So, do you know the status of your other projects and did they receive, their, like the 2025 DCNR grant, which is not going to be awarded until, do you know the status of that
Of the other grants,
for your other projects?
right now we have a project out right now for Overdeer Park. That one will be constructed in the spring. The waterfront project, we don't know the status of that grant. We applied for LSA funding, what is it, CFA, LSA, DCED money. That's for the waterfront project. That's about a little under $300,000 project. And I think that one says they can provide 100% funding, but we do have some money in a sinking fund for parks that we started it, but that's only about 50,000. But part of our pros, and I don't want to get to the pros plan. We have the pool project, a master site pool study going on that we put $50,000 of our money into because it was a federal project years ago, the pool. So there's a covenant on the property. And DCNR wants us to do a public master site pool study before they'll fund the next thing instead of the pool. So that's what we're involved in now. We're going to present that project to council on January 21st to see if there's buy-in. We're looking at replacing that pool with a nature type center and walking trails. And then the Susquehanna Street walking trail, which is a separate project, which I just mentioned. We're hoping down the road to be a third project where we can link them up. And the big grand plan that ties in with the comprehensive plan is at some point to take that walking trail and maybe get it over into Royalton or at least up to Huffer Park, where we can walk from Huffer Park at the east end of town the whole way to the south end of town with a walking trail. So other money that we're looking at that we have to put, we were awarded a grant through HATS for a road project, a streetscape project on Emall Street that will link our train station with our downtown that already has a streetscape. So it's a two and a half block project, but the estimates are the estimates. It's a $1.5 million estimate, but there's a chance that it could come over. So we're trying to play our cards and put some money back for all those projects that should they come in overbid that we could still do that.
So specifically, you responded to question 1. Thank you, sorry.
That's right.
It says forming municipal area, design and cost are completed sufficiently to allow for grant submission for the 2025 DCNR Community Conservation Partnership. And that program requires a 50% match.
Mm-hmm.
The estimated total of the cost is phase project is $2 million. So do you have $1 billion already set aside?
We don't at this time, but we have it broken down in phases, $1 million each, okay? And we're gonna go to talk to council next week about that and see if they have buy-in for the project. If they do, the next step will be to probably search for other money other than DCNR. And we have some other things that I can't discuss here that aren't guaranteed, that some money that we might be able to recover from some other issue that might fund something like that. But right now, we're just at the, it's something that the committee wants to do, but all of council hasn't bought in yet. We'll find out on the 21st if they buy into that. But it is something that needs to be done. This pool has been closed for 4 years. It's looking like an eyesore. There's, things falling apart there, so we need to do something with it.
And I think your other comment, number 2, is if it's only partially funded, you would scale it back, and if it's not funded at all, you would shelve it until you found funding.
Yeah, it's something we know needs to be done, and if we wouldn't get full funding, our thoughts are maybe we just replace the main piece of equipment that we saw on the title page. And maybe, the inclusive world is expensive, and that ported play stuff. If we don't get all the funding, one of those things could come out of the project and maybe be added later.
So you said the Hoffer Park improvements were just completed? With
Hoffer
similar-
Hoffer Park has been completed for maybe a year.
Yeah, we're over Deer Park is out. That contract's awarded. They'll be constructing over Deer this spring and summer.
That's a little pocket park next to the borough building.
Okay, and the Hoffer Park improvements included the ADA.
Yes.
Have you noticed how, it's too early in the day for my brain to be going like this, but use has increased at all with the new equipment?
Oh, yeah, when it first opened, it was really busy down there. It's dropped off, and since it, was brand new, people were coming all over, because it's like a theme play area, a lot of things in Middletown. But one of the things we saw as far as, because that's the highest slides that are allowed by law, and one of the things we saw with the young kids is spinning seems to be very
They
popular.
love the world. We can look on the camera and at times there's 15 or 20 kids all over the world twirling around on it.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? Thank you much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Look, I was able to get onto it.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good afternoon.
How goes it now?
Good.
So have we heard from the fly fisher? I was hoping he would send pictures. What happened?
But I wonder.
I'm scared you're gonna have it tomorrow.
Okay.
That was at my in-laws.
Did you go out? Like,
I don't know, I mean, I think it's just pretty remote area from the ranch house.
yeah.
Because I said to him, I always wanted to go to Argentina just for that steak from the gauchos.
I wonder what his connectivity is.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was zero.
It's a bunch put it there, get the movers, put it there, get the first floor all set up. Deal with the rest. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What was
Be
that?
careful when you stand up.
I heard there was almost an incident. I said my legs go numb like instantly on these pictures.
That's what happened with Toya. Her foot went to sleep. She stood up. She
She
almost
actually
got it.
hurt her foot, the next day it was still hurting.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Now your foot can get that asleep.
Yeah.
Pembroke Borough.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So we are live streaming, so smile. Will do. Please identify yourself when you start your presentation, who you're with, and what you're representing for your project. You have 30 minutes for your presentation. I will set a timer for 25 minutes, so if it ends up going off, we'll need to wrap things up. And I believe you also have a few questions. If you could weave those into your presentation, that would be great. I believe.
You mean the responses to your questions?
Correct.
And answers?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, once she finishes with the handouts, whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Thank you.
Order.
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you for considering the application. My name is Joe Hogarth. I'm the Borough Manager and Chief of Police of Pembroke Borough. This is Jeremy Smith. He represents Route 2, which is our engineering firm. And we'd like to talk to you about a master plan project that we have for Community Park. Community Park is one of 3 public parks that we have in the borough. It's the largest. And it's the last one we have on our list to rehabilitate. It's in a unique location. Well, really, all of Pembroke is in a unique location as its proximity to other municipalities. But this one is in the southeast corner of the borough. It's right down the hill from Harrisburg High School, very close proximity to the city of Harrisburg, but also Susquehanna Township. We have the green belt that goes right by it, literally just yards from that. So we have a lot of community partner involvement with Community Park, to include the green belt, JT Dorsey Foundation, which does a wonderful job with the youth in the community. Of course, the local planning commissions. Harrisburg Police Athletic League has interest in using the park. I can remember living in Pembroke back in the early 90s, and this was quite the hub for the community regarding baseball, Legion baseball, Twilight baseball. It was going all the time, but that obviously has faded to the point where Pembroke sadly doesn't even have a Little League baseball organization anymore. Our kids are sort of folded into the Wilhelm Paxtang organization, but they do have yearly contract agreements with using the field for that organization, pretty much on a practice level. Quite a number of challenges here with the park just because of the age. As you can see in the photographs that we've provided, we've had to do some rehabilitation piecemeal over the years, but we have a very aging basketball court, of course, the baseball fields. For the most part have been unused, but again, as I said, from Harrisburg Police Athletic League and the Paxton Wilhelm Little League Baseball Association, there's a desire to use those fields. But fencing is dilapidated, and then of course the community has told us through their unofficial use of the park that they want to go beyond baseball. As you can see in that one overhead photo, you can see some outlines of some soccer fields. That's mostly from the JT Dorsey Foundation, who does a lot of community involvement with using soccer. So they've been using that, and of course, just the local community in pickup games. Of course, Pembroke, like the other communities in the area, have become a lot more diverse with cultures and nationalities. from Nepal and the Latin American countries. And of course, soccer or football is very popular. So our intent is to use the grant award to partner with RITU to start a master plan in conjunction with DCNR's requirements for that, to involve the community steering committees and drive the rehabilitation based on what's best for the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the borough really wants to take this park to the 21st century. They've, last 10 years, focused on their other two parks and have made major improvements to those parks. But this is much larger, as Joe mentioned, and its location, not just for the borough itself, but regionally, is of great use and of great value to the extended community, which is why they would like, they're asking for these funds for a master site plan to go through the process of actually going through DCNR's scope of work, which is what we pulled the outline from, because in the past, the borough has pursued funding for construction activities related to their other parks through DCNR. So we're looking to really implement a plan that is focused and fueled by the community's input to develop the park long-term and phase it out in chunks that the borough would be able to utilize and move forward over time and really improve connections, not just internally, as Joe mentioned. You can see on some of the maps connections to the rest of Pembroke. Market Street Road really kind of cuts off the park in terms of connectivity to the rest of Pembroke, and particularly ADA accessibility is a key issue and is very lacking at this point with the park and the facilities themselves. So we can kind of touch on some of the questions here that were raised. One of those questions, the first one, was about a preliminary budget estimate from RITU that was not submitted in the application, so we did provide a copy of that budget in our response. It's also included. That cost estimate is based on the positions for folks that we would anticipate performing tasks. Each of those items listed: executive summary, purpose, goals, and objectives, public participation, and so on. Those are all items pulled directly from DCNR's master site development plan and scope of work. I did provide a copy of that today for your references as well. So we pulled rates and hours estimated based on completing those tasks, and that's based on what we've experienced in similar projects of similar size. Second question was specifically regarding public participation at the cost of $21,000. So that item is obviously the largest in terms of cost of all the items in the scope of work. So we did pull that scope of work from DCNR, which specifically states that public participation is required throughout the planning process to help determine and prioritize the types of facilities and activities at the site. And at a minimum, public participation must include study committee, public meetings, and key person interviews. And the costs that we have associated with that are for a consultant to lead those activities for the borough. They do have a parks committee that has been very involved, and I would anticipate Joe would continue to be involved.
Absolutely.
And we would be working hand in hand with those folks and leading those efforts. So kind of outline some of those key items related to that particular question. And in terms of the borough funding, the actual work to the master plan once it's developed, again, we touched on one of those being DCNR through the Community Conservation Partnerships Program, but then we also see DCED local share accounts statewide program, which the borough has pursued and been successful in the past on that as well. We have DCED Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program, and then the Dauphin County local share municipal grant program as well.
And if I may, as far as, connecting, DCNR's scope of work and trying to follow their requirements, with our other two parks, DCNR was key. It was a key partner in funding those two park projects. So it was very important to us to not work outside of their scope, assuming that DCNR is going to be and continue to be such a key partner with our funding moving forward.
And the DCNR scope, if the borough were putting out a request for proposal to pursue this work, we would point them to following the scope of work in doing so. Fourth question there.
I'll take that. Funds, certainly, general funds would come into play where necessary, but we would certainly look to leverage other funding streams as much as possible. Every year, Pembroke Borough, when we prepare a budget, we have been able to stay within our revenues versus our expenses each year. But we're doing so with the help of grants, with just being frugal and fiscally responsible. As you can imagine, we're very limited with our property tax income, our EIT income, as most municipalities are with rising expenses. So we're not really in a position to put a lot of money away for this project. Certainly, the Borough Council understands the importance of these park rehabilitations as far as driving at least the attractiveness to move into the community, and parks being such an integral part of that. But unfortunately, the economy of the borough doesn't allow us to fund a lot of this with general funds. So we are going to be heavily relying on grant income for the project.
And that's consistent with your past park projects as well.
It is. I mean, the past park projects with DCNR, it required $110,000 total grant for each phase, and that 110, there was a $40,000 match. So the borough has committed its own general fund monies to these projects. We're just, somewhat limited. And of course, the scale of this project compared to the other two is going to make that even more important.
For the other, for the other two park projects, were master plans completed for those prior to work as well?
Yes, they were. And I believe there was, at one point, we did pursue a grant application through here. We were awarded monies, and that went towards our $40,000 match. If memory serves, it was, I think, 2 or 3 grant cycles ago that we came to you for part of that project.
Okay. And in your experience, is there, so say you complete the master site plan and then can't get funding for a couple of years or something. Have you experienced with DCNR what they would then consider a stale plan? Is there a point where it's 3 years old and they
It's
know?
outdated.
Yeah.
I think we would have to I think we would be like, maybe if we were 10 years out,
Okay.
something along those lines. But I think if it's, I don't think that, I think that we would be within a reasonable time frame to pursue that.
Okay.
I've not experienced anything like that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm looking at this overview. Is the only parking near baseball field number 1?
Yes, other than the on-street parking, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And while you haven't done your master plan yet, I noticed from the labeling of these, it says baseball. Did you,
That's
really to make them, I mean, yeah, they're definitely baseball with a grass infield.
Yep.
You would be looking at incorporating, softball or women's sports.
And I believe that's the importance of getting the community involvement, is having them drive what they believe is going to be important. Certainly, I could see something like that staying, because we do have organizations like the Police Athletic League wanting to use baseball field number 2, and Paxton Wilhelm wanting to use baseball field number 1. And that's fine if the community tells us that we need some sort of a baseball, softball, then we'll certainly keep something.
I mean, there's nothing saying they could be multi-use.
Correct, right, yes.
You know, many townships limited with park space, make them multi-use.
And that's what we do now with the large field, the outfield being the soccer area.
Yeah, maybe they condense it instead of 2 fields, it's condensed to 1, which gives them more space
Yes,
between the public and the stakeholders.
yes.
So if this is only partially funded or not, maybe even non-funded, would you still be able to move this master plan forward?
Not anytime soon, no. So given the total cost, approximated cost of $75,000, unless Borough Council wants to commit some capital reserve money to it, they haven't given me that indication. It would be likely that it would be delayed. Now, how long, I don't know, because they do recognize the importance of moving forward.
But that's sometimes, I don't know, like this board generally likes to be a piece of the puzzle, right? And once we see that you have skin in the game and you're moving it forward, you're progressing it and you're behind it, right? You know, being at the front of the line, giving the money 100% up front, kind of doesn't give us any leverage there at all, right?
Yep.
Makes it hard for us to support those sorts of things. So I don't know if you can maybe talk to council and see if possibly they would want to be in the beginning stage as well, you know?
And I do believe that the Parks Subcommittee would generally push council in that direction, because they do realize the importance of it. And they do realize the importance of having that skin in the game.
Any other questions?
Just please update us if there's any further commitment from council.
I will. I want to be clear though, when we set up the 2025 budget, there was no commitment financially specifically for that.
Okay.
Well, good luck to you guys. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who's manager of Steelton these days?
What's that?
No, Steelton is
Kathy McCool.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. For real?
Do they have 4?
Excuse me?
Is it 4?
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock, we're early.
No, quantity.
What?
Presentations?
They have 3.
Oh.
3? Okay. Okay, cool beans.
So Steelton Road is on the management plan, and some Second Street paving project. Maybe, yeah, and then Steelton Stormwater is the 430.
Different time slot.
Yeah,
Is the presenter going to be the same? Do you know, Brooke?
I'm sorry, what?
Will Kathy McCool be presenting for all 3?
I believe so.
Right, I got the roadway, what was the other one?
I'm seeing where those still highway. So still long-term highway, we'll just be discussing that at February meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
No, they have three, if you look here, well, they have one product, I guess.
But they only know to talk about.
So I guess, yeah, they only have one project, but Kathy is here for 3 separate presentations. Steel and then, yeah, 320 is also the steel. The Borough Steel project is a roadway management plan. Are there multiples, what's the following summary in there? What's their time, what do you mean that their time slot?
They're 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it says Steel and Borough.
They're 4,
Right.
4:30, and 5.
Yeah, that's all it says, but would there be, they're not gonna talk, they're only gonna talk about this.
Is there not multiple summaries in their file?
Oh, see, that's my problem, is I take them from the email.
So, okay, so what,
I need to go to I'll go to the file.
I'm confused on why you thought they had multiple projects.
Because I think when you look at the executive summary, it indicates that they were sponsored by.
Well, they have it here.
They
They have
were the
2 projects.
co-applicant for
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah.
but that's not their projects.
Okay.
So Steel in themselves only has this one presentation.
Gotcha.
It also might help you look, kind of, we're 2 days out now from this being over. But if you go to the spreadsheet that says submitted applications, if you go back, and then, yeah, even that one's fine, either one. And I had, this is separated from day to day. So if you scroll down, you scroll up because it's in the middle. So today is everybody. So Steel and Borough is coming in to talk about the roadway project plan. And then the stormwater people are coming in, but the Steel and
That's
Borough,
afterwards, that's true.
yeah, is their co-applicant. And then the next one is community development. The Borough of Steel is their co-applicant. So probably within their summary, it's listed that they're the co-applicant to these other 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, the summary has them as co-applicant or applicant on the 11th.
Yeah, so maybe not all of their applicants that joined in with them got a public hearing.
Yeah.
I think that's where I get myself up, because I'm not looking at, I'm not going to the county's site when the emails come in.
Yeah.
You just say no.
I'm saving them and trying to put them in a folder that's like, this is the date today is the 13th, right? I put it into a folder there, and I look at who it says it's by, and if it's here, and then I have the PDF, and I search Steelton, and I dump it into that 4 o'clock time slot.
Yeah.
So that's where I get it. I should go and look at your spreadsheet, your Excel,
Well, I mean,
cross-reference that instead of
if
this.
you want to create your own folder for yourself, but I am also just putting everything in the individual folders for you to review. The only thing I don't do is group them into time slots this year because it was too much because the summaries were, I didn't get all the summaries, and then last year, when a summary would come, I wouldn't know if it was day 1, day 2, day 3. So I was hitting every folder to find where Steel and Borough was. So just leaving them in all submitted, they're in alpha order. So then you just need to go in, you see their summaries, you see the answers to the questions, their applications, and any other supplemental information they have.
And I remember last year not being able to get into that.
Yeah,
And I was having big problems.
Yeah.
I was calling it, so I was like, I'll
Just
stick with
in
my
case.
original format doing
Yeah.
this, and so now that it seems to be working,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
give you better moving forward
yeah,
next year. It's a lot less work for me,
yeah.
quite honestly.
Yes, because it's all right there for you. Yeah, I'm pulling it all in, so.
It's a lot less work.
Yeah, it is working well for me this year. It just pulls it right up into a browser, the file directory,
Mhm.
and then you can open all the documents, and then you can actually open them. If you want to open them up into, like, for Word or PowerPoint, you can go into full. But if not, you can just look at the viewer and so that's just in my, browser. Last year, I remember last year was a little long.
I don't know why it didn't, I mean, I've been going back and forth between
Okay.
the way that I filed them away.
Yeah,
And
I
here.
did what you did before. Like, I always have
Hello.
the thing, and then I search them, find them.
Hello.
Where shall I sit?
Right here's good.
Hey Kath, I'm Betsy McBride. You and I have met. How you doing?
I'm well, how are you? You know, I sent you a text message a while ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it must have been to,
Or maybe my township.
maybe.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Just saying, guess where I ended up?
I just learned.
So-
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So how many presentations are you responsible for? Are you just?
3,
So you're doing all 3?
the next 3.
So,
And I might have some other folks come in, for the next 2. It's just me for this one.
okay, all right. So for this one, you have 30 minutes. The next 2, you have 30 minutes, and then another 30 minutes. So you really, well, in the next hour.
Okay.
So what I'll do is try to keep it separate. Let's just say we're doing the boroughs right now. I'll set a timer for 25 minutes. If we run a little, if that goes off, we need to get ready for the stormwater folks. I don't know, however you want to separate your time in the grand scheme of things, it's up to you, right? So please announce yourself with your name and who you represent and the project that you will be presenting, because we are live streaming, so folks
Okay.
know what's going on.
I am Kathy McCool. I am the Borough Manager for Steelton. And the projects that I am, for which we applied, have to do with paving projects in the borough. First, is a borough management, pavement management plan proposal that we'd like to have funded, and 1 project for next year.
That's the Second Street.
Yes, that's the Second Street request.
So for the 2 projects total, you're requesting 150?
Yes, that is correct.
So we often look for how much is the requester putting up themselves, in this case, still in Borough.
So in this case, we're looking at 150,000 because the project itself, including the pavement management plan, and any future paving management that we would do, the borough would take on those costs. For materials, we would utilize liquid fuels funds for those, because we do have a paver, but the Second Street project is a much larger project. Some of the other projects we would be looking at are smaller projects that our public works folks would take on with liquid fuels, paying for the product to pave those streets.
So Second Street will outsource.
Yes, we have to outsource that one.
So this roadway management plan, That's going to include most of the roads in the borough?
All of the roads.
Okay.
All of the roads in the borough. So the idea behind that is, there is a company from Michelin that actually our folks go out and take the pictures, video all of the streets, and then it goes into a system that's operated with some AI that will tell us which streets we should concentrate on first. And then from there, we can come up with a management plan in which HRG would be helping us of tackling over the next several years those projects. Some that we could do in-house, others we may have to contract out, but we would be able to at least know how much to build into the budget year over year.
And this videoing, I'll use that word, that'll give you an idea if you actually have to dig down and remove the whole road.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, whether it's more of a surfacing
Right.
or if it's, we have to rip up a street and lay down everything new.
So how many miles of?
About 18 miles.
18 miles.
Of roadway in the borough itself.
And is the borough pretty comfortable knowing what's under those roads?
Well, I'm relatively new in the borough. I'm not comfortable with knowing what's under those roads. So if we would need to do any kind of, I don't know what kind of environmental issues we would have for those. Most of our environmental issues are down on Front Street, which Front Street is a PennDOT road and they just repaved that long ago.
I see that the scanning was delayed. Do you have a new expectation for timeline on that?
After the snow, so I'm thinking March or April.
And was that delayed environmentally or funding?
For funding wise. And just with the number of projects the borough has undertaken in the last year.
So this is sort of a two-pronged request, right?
Yes, that is correct.
The first part, the comprehensive plan, a priority over top of number two, or is the roadway repair, or does one take precedent over the others if we could only do a partial funding?
If you could only do a partial funding, I would want the paving project done, and then we would try to source other funding for the pavement management plan. Because in reality, we would not even be able to put a plan in place until 2026. We wouldn't be able to start with the plan until 2026.
When you say start, do you mean active
Start
on
paving.
what you find? Okay.
Yeah.
And is it safe to assume that there's a lot of people that drive through Steelton?
Yes.
So it's a connector for the county?
Yes, I would assume that. We will be, I will say that I have a meeting scheduled for, to meet with the HATS program because they want to understand what's going on in our borough as well in regards to streets. So perhaps we could secure some funding in that regards.
Because the Dairy Queen's in Steelton.
No, the Dairy Queen is right on the edge.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's right, it doesn't belong in Steelton.
Okay, every now and then I take a run up. Okay.
How many of your roads are state roads?
We have,
So Route 230.
so 230, and then we have Pine Street, I think Swatera Street. A few of those roads are, they're state roads.
But you plow them and all that?
Yes,
Okay.
we get paid by PennDOT to do that.
How's your storage facilities for equipment, salt, and all that sort of stuff?
We have a salt shed. over at our Public Works. We have a Public Works garage, so we have plenty of equipment that's stored out of the weather.
I don't recall seeing how long this paving on Second Street is. Is it a mile? Is it, and if you don't know, you can give us that information later.
I don't believe it's even a mile long. It's just very badly deteriorated.
Okay.
I'm not, I'm, looking at my summary. How much, is this 100% request, or is this, what does the borough have in?
Well, as a whole, yes, we are requesting 100% for the actual paving, the paving management plan, and any subsequent paving that would come out of the pavement management plan would come from either other funding sources, from liquid fuels, for example.
Well, it's actually you're requesting 150 of 156, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not quite 100%.
Not quite there. Any other questions? Thank you much. Do we want to see if we can collect some other folks for your
Yes,
next
one
project?
other person for the next presentation, and that would be Michael Sagina. He is the chair of the Stormwater Authority. And let me see if he is out here.
And he's a resident who's chair of the board there.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
he's a resident. He's also one of the council members.
So he's elected as well. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
What time you tell them?
I told him to be here a half an hour before we're supposed to start, so hopefully he's here. If he's not out there, I can text him and see. Well, I won't be able to text him. He's in the car, so I wouldn't be interrupted.
The unintended consequences. Let's go.
There you go.
Okay. Actually, the total for everything would be 207,150 from local municipal shares, 57 from liquid fuels.
Actually, that raises a good point then, because the budget that
Yeah, it's not.
in the application is 156,435 for the Second Street project and 15,800 for the roadway management plan. But then I'm looking at the, your supplement, and that's got the 207 number. So I guess, can you explain the variation?
So there isn't a 78.7 in the original application, 78,700 for paving materials.
There's nothing that, there is no 78.7, I don't know if it's broken up. Because there's asphalt mixture, curbing.
Super paved asphalt mixture. Sub-base repair. Super paved.
Here, turn it up so you can see it.
I mean,
Well, then I stand corrected. I don't know why I have a different,
I would wait, why don't you go back and have some time to review it, doing it on the spot's not fair to you. And once you find out what you have, email Brooke, she will get it in the file and distribute it to everyone.
I think, see, this is what I sent for the questions, 58A. And then,
Oh, this is the original, okay.
okay, so, and then, this was for the paving project, and then this is for the materials.
See that sentence there?
Yeah,
That's where I came up with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, we don't want to play stump the borough manager. So
What was that?
we don't want to play stump the borough manager. So go back and look at that.
Well, if that's what was in the application, that's what I submitted.
But that doesn't
Yeah, no,
mean
you
you
can update.
can't clarify.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay,
We have some time, so once you do that, email Brooke and she'll get it out to everyone and put it in your file. So
okay, all right, very good, I will do that then.
So did you guys watch the Eagles game this night?
I did.
Are you happy with the outcome?
I am happy in the sense, while they're not my team, I think it's great that they had a home field advantage. And a lot of people came and spent money and our tax revenue is growing.
There you go.
Nice fit.
Man, as long as those coffers get, filled up, I am a Commonwealth employee.
So are you officially retired from municipal?
18 months.
Sweet. Yes.
We'll have to chat sometime.
Yes. You know we're being streamed here.
I know. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I'm a happy cowgirl right now.
I bet, I bet.
I just spent 7 weeks up in Canada on Prince Edward Island. Got back December 22nd. It's lovely.
Nova Scotia is one of my favorite places.
I had Thanksgiving in Halifax.
We keep meaning to go to PEI on the way out.
It's nice. Didn't realize all the beaches on PEI are red, is clay. And if it's not red, they reported the sand in. But I can't imagine being there in the summer. I'm sure any white tail comes back red. But I learned that due to the Gulf Stream, the waters there are as warm as North Carolina in the summer, which means they're probably warmer than Cape Cod and Maine. Yeah. Is your daughter still wearing a uniform?
She is.
Good.
She's actually, the United States Army sent her to get her master's degree, and she's now an instructor at West Point.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, my friend's daughter is enlisted as a medic, and she just returned from Syria.
Wow.
So her husband, actually her nephew, sent me a picture of the video. Her daughter returned a week earlier than expected. My friend lost it.
I'm sure, I'm sure. Oh, my.
Lost it with happiness, yeah.
My youngest one is going to the University of Pittsburgh. She's in the process of getting her chemical engineering degree.
Good.
Yeah. She fooled us all when she was in school. We didn't think she was, you know, that
bloomed
typical, but apparently she's doing very well, so who knew?
Actually, there's a movie, some of which is filmed near West Point. That actor Cumberbatch or whatever his name is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in it. And so is the character of Edgar Allan Poe, who apparently went to West Point. Yeah, I learn new things every day.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's
Yeah,
kind of
she loves it.
Yeah.
She loves being an instructor.
That's neat.
Yeah. So how long has it been since? It's been a while. I have a grandson now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
How old?
4.
Oh, fun. It's probably been about that long. Yeah, at least 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like 4. 4 is fun.
4 is fun.
They have their own
4 is
personality.
better than 2 and 3.
Yeah. Well, they can still say no at 4, but they kind of have a reason now.
Yeah. This is also true.
That's great.
Yes.
He's still not here.
What time is it?
But we're early.
We're early. We're early.
It's only 5
We
before.
say 45 minutes.
So you shouldn't even be here for 5 more minutes. We're running 40 minutes early.
Well, if, let me go text him and see. I have to go out to my
Yeah, take your
car.
time.
And then, see if he can get here sooner. And then.
Do you need folks for your third one?
The Community Development Foundation,
Probably not.
I mean, were they planning on coming?
What they were planning on coming.
Yeah, they'll
Come away.
So what do you like to do outside of work? Do you do yoga or anything like that?
I used to do a lot more of it. I broke my arm in, a while ago now. But, well, I broke my elbow.
Oh,
And so I can't, this arm doesn't straighten and like I can't, anything where, so the elbow joint itself is reconstructed.
Mhm.
So I'm on a metal plate. So like I can't do, it hurts.
so you can't do downward facing dog?
I can, but I can't, I'm uneven because this one's
Okay.
shorter now. And, it gets really stiff and anything where like planking on your, elbows, I can't do that. So that kind of dropped off a lot. But
I was thinking I'd get into swimming, now that I'm kind of into the group retirement, but I heard Penn State Harrisburg closed the pool. That was an indoor pool, and that's in the township I live. So I haven't done it yet, but, I can't say I miss it.
Yeah.
It's just a nice thought at the time.
I just remember what I was doing the other day. Oh, I think it was one of those commercials on TV. I've got Hulu, so I don't have, I get the local streaming ads. It was like some 80, 90-year-old woman who said she was going to swim like 1,000 miles a year or something crazy. Well, maybe that's what I need to be doing, but I've never been big on swimming.
Well, I used to be a lifeguard, but
Oh, yeah.
I was never on a swim team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was maybe my favorite job
Really?
in summers in college,
Where'd you go to college?
in Washington DC.
Oh, okay.
But I did it, I'm from Montgomery County, so that's why I was the lifeguard. Montgomery County, PA.
Yeah.
not Maryland.
We can proceed.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's just me, so yeah, go ahead, whatever you want.
Get it in writing real
Yeah.
quick.
No, this is an advisory board, we don't make decisions.
Oh.
These guys will probably be back in a couple minutes. Do you want water or anything?
No, I'm fine.
Have you done any
Use a
traveling?
tissue. What was
Have
that?
you done any travel?
Last year we were in Florida twice.
Oh, nice.
Once to the Florida Keys and once to the Orlando area. I think, and then this year, my husband and I celebrate our 25-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
So we're gonna take a river cruise.
Oh, that's great. In Europe? Not
No,
Mississippi.
here.
Here, okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Down.
I'm going to Florida next month.
It wasn't very warm during the Penn State game. It was only in the
Yeah.
50s.
I was thinking of going January, February, like 4 weeks maybe, but I decided to make it February, March.
Yeah.
We can
Kind,
those,
you just
in
get,
kind, and,
you can't go back to the same port, can you?
not necessarily, like, I think when the granite stuff, we've gone back to the same place in the last, but you're ultimately in a different vein.
Yeah, right.
You do the
So
best.
did you go into the park when you were in Orlando?
We only went to Epcot.
Doesn't have to look like.
I love Epcot. I'm not so much into the rides, but I love just the atmosphere of Epcot and eating in all the different countries. That was fun. And it was the wine festival.
And you get a
Oh, I've
range
heard
of,
that's
hey, it was
fabulous.
recent,
It is,
you go as
yeah,
far as
so that was
the
fun.
place,
Oh, that's great.
The natural products is kind of like, when you do Dauphin, and you try to get a car that's crashed.
I remember touching all of them.
We did on that one.
Or at least a flight in it or something.
It was like right when you went into the war, we had to do all of those. And
Yeah, I bet.
other than trying to touch them again.
Kat
So
said
what did we come up with?
Kat said we can start.
We can start. Let me check my second person.
Okay.
Because if we
Okay.
can power through the next two, then
So we can start
give you a
doing
little
water,
bit of a
and
breakdown.
we're waiting to hear from community development.
bet you back in the day, that would have been the nice part.
I like the houses around. I don't think I would mind living there, but I don't think the noise would bother me. Unless they're with drinking. Then I might have to join them.
Yeah, I wanna try to think. Probably a good 8 years ago. I remember playing softball
Oh, yeah?
with my eldest daughter. Coach and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I should be there when everybody's picking up the other. Just have a big fixture. I don't know what my eye-to-hand coordination's like anymore. I may not be there.
Oh, it's there.
Play ride a bike.
Well, I sent the message, so we can.
Okay, we can store it on stormwater.
All right, so, just like before, or same sort of thing, just identify yourself again for general purposes in the project, which you are going to speak about. So whenever you're ready, please take her.
My name is Kathy McCool. I'm the Borough Manager for Steelton Borough. I am also the Treasurer on the Stormwater Authority for Steelton.
And your request is?
And my request is I believe it was $75,000 for inlet cleaning and inlet rebuild work as a result of the cleaning. We have a number of inlets, stormwater inlets in the borough. Last year, we spent $89,000 already on stormwater cleaning and repair. It is a very old system, and I believe this has probably been the first time in a very long time that we've started to address those issues in the borough.
Is that a combined system?
No. For most of the borough, no.
So the borough has a stormwater fee.
Yes, that is correct.
How long has that been in place?
Just a year,
Just a year?
just a year. Actually, it'll be a year in May.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just trying to collect some dollars. What's the estimate, annual estimate?
The annual, well, right now in our budget, it's about $500,000.
$500,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then part of that money goes towards reimbursing the borough for employees of the borough who do work towards any stormwater. So if we have public works guys working and cleaning out inlets, part of their salary gets paid by the stormwater authority.
Do you have projects, or has any work been done on what, new projects or trouble areas or?
We do have some trouble areas, but before we can figure out where we need to start, we gotta get the system at least cleaned and updated. We have updated a number of inlets, like I said, last year, and we're gonna continue to do that. But we have some projects that probably need some attention that we could use some help with in the authority, since it is relatively a new authority, and so the funds aren't there.
So for 2024, when you did this, was it geographical? Let's do this part of the borough? Or was it those that tend to flood more, or?
Those that tend to flood more and the ones that were most deteriorated.
So you could
One
eyeball it and see.
Yes, so the borough engineer went around and identified at least 16 inlets from last year that needed to be fixed right away.
So, if I heard you correctly, you said last year you spent $80,000 already?
89,000.
89, nearly 90, so this is building upon that.
Yes.
Are you gonna, you know, the last project you just talked about, you know, the roadway management? like,
Yes,
Are you gonna sort of tie stormwater
that's,
improvements into that?
in an ideal world, we'd like to tie sewer, stormwater,
Gas, everything.
and paving all into one project. So the sewer and the stormwater could help pay for the paving as well.
Who's your water supply company?
PA American Water.
Might want to tie them in too, 'cause as soon as you pave it, everything will go.
So as soon as you pave, they come in and cut. It's a rule.
Well, we've had a lot done last year. UGI came in and did a lot of work in our borough. PA American Water, not so many big projects. They have one project, and it was actually to the benefit of the residents because they paved the whole street then for them. So that's one street we do not need to worry about in the very near future.
What about for sewer? Is all the sewer in the borough going to, was it Capital?
Yes, Capital Region Water, CRW.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So you're sort of at, I mean, I'm sure you coordinate with them, but that, you're a little bit at their mercy in terms of timing on sewer.
That is
improvements and.
Yes, and we have two very large sewer projects. One's a $2.5 million project to replace a pump station, and the other's a $5 million project for a force main that has to be completely replaced.
So do you have another authority? Do you have a sewer authority?
No,
It's just all, okay.
So fill me in on the CRW, you haven't used them in the past
for,
for sewer treatment?
oh, yes.
Oh, okay. I
Yes,
thought
yes,
maybe you were redirecting all sewer to the new place.
No,
I was
it all
like,
goes to
there's an
CR.
undertaking. Okay.
Yeah. But we own the sewer lines in the borough.
Then you just manage that as a borough, under borough council.
Yes, that is correct. Mhm.
Will staff be doing the inlet cleaning?
They will be doing the cleaning. The repair is what is the cost when we have to replace an entire, when they clean it out and they find bricks. It has to be completely replaced. And that's where the majority of the cost is
Do you
coming
even
in.
know what you have? Are there good records? I imagine the system is.
We
pretty
have an
open in places.
ArcGIS system
Yeah.
that shows where each of the inlets are, so we know where they're at. But we haven't done 100% inventory of,
And like their age and how their
Exactly.
materials and.
So you need a camera.
sometimes it's a surprise.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't know about
You go, you're looking, it's brick, and
Yes,
half of them are collapsed.
yes, that is correct. That's the issue.
And now they become wood because you have roots that are lining it. Yeah.
Do you have any little dams in the borough, that the borough owns?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Fair.
Where do you convey your stormwater? Does it go to the canal? Does it go out to the,
The
out to the
river,
river? You get it all the river?
yes, goes to the river.
So you gotta get past the, so you get easements in through the steel plant property in places?
Yes, yes. And sometimes it's difficult to get to those.
Sure. And if they're undersized or,
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm sure it's probably not, can be.
Gotta be this time.
And one of the things for our borough is where there is no land to speak of for MS4 type projects, so
Right.
we have to buy into other projects to get the credits.
Right. Never mind doing some project.
So were you tapped into the Londonderry one? Did Steelton participate?
I forget the name of it, it was a pretty big one.
I think so.
Was it that one?
Yeah.
Yes,
That program.
yeah,
Yeah, I call it, it's probably not the right word to use, but yeah.
It's the water resource.
So in an ideal world, once you get this done and you get it there, that with this new stormwater fee, there'll be cyclical maintenance.
Yes.
From getting into this
yes, that is correct.
shape. And fortunately, we are where we are. look forward, right?
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing a study? I mean, it's first come first, right? You gotta get it functioning.
Right, we have to get it functioning first, and then
Figure out.
if we need to add lines, if we need to,
Yeah, just what's first, like what you were talking about with the road, what's the first areas you should fix? The next area is.
exactly. That's the whole idea of all of it, is to come up with plans so that we can budget for them in the future.
Right.
Well, actually, if there's 591 of them, and you're doing 16 to 25 a year, by the time they're all done, we kind of start all over again.
Pretty much. Well, we're hoping to do a little more than, the 16 came towards the end
Yeah,
of
they
the
were
year,
big
so.
Did you have much participation in setting up your stormwater management with the folks in the borough and public input, getting all that? Because you said
Well,
it's really new, it's only.
it
it'll
is
be a year old in May.
from, 2022 is when they set up the Stormwater Authority. And last year was the first year they actually started charging stormwater fees. So I don't know what the process was at that time, if they had input from stakeholders in the borough. I just don't know the answer to that.
Any other questions?
No, that's good.
The budget lists the 497,000 in stormwater fees as pending. Is that just because you don't know, you haven't allocated exactly, that money is in the bank, you just don't know what the cost is gonna be at this point?
That is correct.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. If there's no other questions, we can look towards the Steelton Community Development Foundation.
Well, may I make a phone call quickly?
Sure.
I hate when I go back on this thing, it takes you all the way to the top.
I know.
You know, you gotta start it out
Go
with that
down
order
again.
every time.
Is Brooke the only one that has control over our buddy Al over there?
No, I control everyone.
Can you pause it for a second? Por favor.
Well, there's no answer, so I'm gonna say we're gonna move forward.
If there are people coming, and especially if it's not your,
Is Club 320 out there or anything by chance? No.
call,
I mean, we were very early, so
Yeah.
officially, if there's anybody, are we being streamed right now?
Yes.
Okay, if somebody's out there watching, we may want to wait, in case somebody wants to sit
See?
down specifically for Steelton Community Development Foundation.
well, and for that one, Mr. Chairman, it's up to you, but I'm a little uncomfortable with it not being the borough's specific project, that that's a separate 501, separate entity, right?
That is correct.
Well, I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
You're the man, Dave.
So if you're uncomfortable, that makes me a little uncomfortable. Right, George?
Whatever you say, Mr. Chairman. I do as I'm told.
I think we should be able to have the ability with this thing, just say, like the message up there, the gaming advisory board's at ease at this time when we return.
You want it
You know, something, so you know that.
Yeah.
We're gonna be sitting
From your
Hello,
phone.
hello, hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Great, so, thank you for being early, certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
You've drawn a 15-minute time slot for this evening. So what I'll end up doing is setting a timer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Well, actually 12 minutes. So if it goes off, we need to wrap things up because hopefully there's another applicant waiting behind you.
Okay.
So we are live streaming, and if you would please, speak up so the folks can hear you. Also identify yourself, the project that you are representing, and the amount of your request.
Got it.
So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm Alicia Jones, Secretary of Q Jones Incorporated, and we are requesting $75,000 for business expansion. And I'd like to just give a quick summary of what Q Jones Incorporated already does. Q Jones Inc. is a minority-owned and operated and nationally certified business. Q Jones Inc. is headquartered here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, offering services through the entire state. Q Jones Inc. is dedicated to hiring not only Harrisburg City employees, but minority and diverse employees as well. Q Jones Inc. was founded in 2009 by President and CEO Quentin T. Jones and is a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania minority-owned enterprise that is also nationally certified for landscaping, contracting, and snow removal. Q Jones Inc. is also certified as the National Green Infrastructure Certification Program, as well as OSHA compliant. Our hopes are to expand. Currently, we are operating as a subcontractor rather than a prime. The grant application will help us to provide new equipment that will allow us to expand and operate more as a prime contractor. Right now, for example, we've completed a project for the Catherine Hershey School as a subcontractor under an excavating prime. One of the equipment tools that we will be required or attempting to purchase is a mini excavator. So that'll give us a little bit more expansion. It'll also allow us to hire more employees, as well as bid alongside some of the bigger guys. As a small business, sometimes we're kind of overlooked because, again, we either are renting out equipment or having to subcontract under our subcontract for things that we are not currently equipped to do or don't have enough employees to do. So that's the main purpose, is just to allow that expansion and allow us to hire new employees and bid on other projects.
So when you have an opening, is it easy to fill it?
Yes and no. Landscaping is a seasonal business, so there are times where we may have, several projects lined up. For instance, obviously it's the winter time, so right now our main focus is our hardscaping and our snowplow contracts. I think the biggest issue is being able to hire on full-time employees, which the purchasing of equipment will do. So those folks who are looking for full-time employment versus a part-time or seasonal employment, it allows us to offer those as well.
Would you have the ability to service the equipment you're looking to purchase, or would you end up having to take that out?
So we would be able to service. We do have someone in-house now that services equipment. For example, our mowers are serviced in-house. Again, those are some of the other equipment that we're looking to purchase. We've recently financed through Sheffield the purchase of a new lawnmower. Most of our lawnmowers are about 7 years old. So updating equipment allow us to compete, again, as I said, and to maintain both residential and commercial contracts.
So you're asking 75 from the local share,
Correct.
and the owner, either by financing or out of his own wallet, is putting up 223.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
No, I don't have to.
When you say the business is nationally certified and has footprint all across the state, do you have actual other offices elsewhere, or are you just willing to travel?
We are willing to travel. So we are NMSDC certified. So we have the ability to travel, and we've done projects outside of state, but again, we like to keep things, especially being a small business here, as local as possible.
Okay, So you guys, so were you started in Dauphin County?
Correct,
Okay, and so you're still headquartered in Dauphin?
yes.
Between the equipment that you listed, so the 2 commercial mowers, mini excavator, dump truck, and a teleskid skid loader, do you have a priority ranking for those?
Yes, obviously the mowers are our main concern. Again, we've already purchased one. The next priority would be the mini excavator. We do a lot of hardscaping and we do a lot of green infrastructure for the city of Harrisburg. So that excavator is going to allow us to compete and be able to complete projects in a timely manner.
And if you only got, say you only got a partial award, is that how, would you move forward just with a partial purchase of the equipment?
Yes.
Do you buy new and used, or do you prefer to?
So we have in the past purchased used equipment. We do have a couple of used dump trucks right now. The issue is longevity, right? These trucks are used very hard. So, and it would be our intention to purchase new, that way that we have that longevity, especially with being able to service and maintenance them in-house. We're going to be able to keep them for a lot longer if we purchase them new.
So in a busy season, are you out there too?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
All right.
How many employees do you have?
We currently have anywhere between 3 and 4, with 3 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, and then seasonally we will add on the addition of 1 to 3 employees depending on what projects we have lined up.
Okay, so the 3 full-time is year-round?
Correct.
So one of the things that we ask applicants to respond to with this grant program is, especially the for-profit entities, is to explain to the board about what the business is doing in the community that would justify an award of public funds to a for-profit entity. Do you have anything to respond, to discuss about the businesses or the owners or employees work within the community?
Sure. So Q Jones Incorporated has consistently provided services to Stoughton Heights Fire School District, which is a local community school. It's also the school that I teach at. And so that looks like maintenance of their lawn and lawn care needs, hardscaping needs. Q Jones Incorporated was also part of the solar panel project that they put in at the school. I believe the school is the only school in central Pennsylvania that is mostly electric versus its solar panels and its electric buses. So we contribute to projects like that. Q Jones Incorporated also contributes to a lot of the green infrastructure that you see in Harrisburg City. So the curb banks and the water flows that you see, Q Jones Incorporated is working on those. Ideally, we also give back to the community. We usually hire locally within the community and then provide different types of supports, whether it's being a part of, the backpack initiative that a friend of ours had in the community and sponsoring other events like that.
Any other questions?
I don't think I've got any others.
Thank you much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well done.
So did you have snow days this week?
Stoughton has had one, but our children go to Central Dauphin, so they have those flexible instruction days. So I'm usually at home with them, making sure that they're getting their flexible instruction. So
Right.
we've had one thus far. But thank you so much.
Those flexible instruction days or school from home days are such a scam. Could you imagine being a kid and being dipped out of your school for your snow days? I'd be pissed.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
What was it? Yeah,
Call 320.
They want building.
I'll get it back over. All right. So, this is sound redundant for you. We do have a new person in the seat. So we are being live streamed.
Okay.
So the mic is over to your right, my left. And please speak up, identify yourself and who we represent and your request. You have approximately 30 minutes for your presentation, right? So I'll set a timer for 25 minutes. So if that goes off, then we need to wrap some things up. But that said, the floor is yours.
I'm Kathy McCool. I am the borough manager in Steelton. I also sit on the Steelton Community Development Foundation as the treasurer.
I'm Natasha Woods. I am the chair of the Steelton Economic Development Foundation.
And our request was for $75,000 for economic development activities. In 2022, the borough undertook an STMP project in which we had an accounting firm come in and evaluate the borough. And one of the recommendations that came out of that plan was a business incubator program to help drive economic development in the borough. And because Steelton Community Development Foundation supports the borough in activities, this is the reason why they're requesting the $75,000 for economic development activities. $25,000 of the $75,000 would be going to CIE, which is the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship from Harrisburg University. And their goal is essentially a feasibility study. What are some of the things that we can do to drive economic development in the borough and help source funding for ongoing projects or things of that nature. In addition to CIE helping the foundation in doing the incubator, in developing an incubator program, the borough itself is part of a brownfields area-wide planning as part of the county. The county is engaging with a consulting firm to help also with economic development within the borough in identifying those brownfields that we could, for example, properties that could be renovated and things of that nature. The Community Development Foundation does own a building in downtown. Part of that process actually moving forward would be to take that building and renovate it and put programs in that building. While not 100% funded by any type of gaming grant, this would help at least obtain the supplies needed to at least start the incubator program, or at least a center for businesses in the borough.
So how do you tap on this? Like, do you think we would like to have communication businesses or entertainment businesses, or is that not how the focus goes?
So the focus is truly helping our small businesses. So right now, of course, everyone who knows Stilton knows that we have the steel mill, which takes up 50% of our borough. And then we have the rest of the borough. And if you look back over the last, I would say 5 years, the businesses that were, the small businesses that were open in 2020 are no longer there, you know? And it's really what I would like with, especially with the incubator program, is to teach businesses, how do you do a business plan? You know, I can come in, buy, you know, rent out a storefront, and Lord knows I always wanted a bookstore. I could start a bookstore, but I really don't know how to do that, you know, to make it a long-lasting process. So, you know, it's really about educating folks who do want to come in and start a business, how to maintain the business, you know, how to be a part of our community. So that's, you know, we're not looking for anything specifically. So we're not looking for entertainment.
Not, I mean, maybe
place,
that's not normal with an incubator. I
Yeah,
don't know, I'm just throwing
and
it out there.
and that's also, you know, with working with CIE, it's educating us as a borough as well to say, you know, who do we reach out to? How do we reach out, you know, to get folks to come into the borough?
So when you tap on entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs, is that where Harrisburg University
Yes.
comes in to conduct whatever seminars need to be conducted?
Yes.
Right.
And they have a success, right now, their office is in Strawberry Square. And they do monthly roundtables with new entrepreneurs. They work with, you know, existing businesses that want to maybe change the course of their business. You know, so it's a good program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So is your main goal to create a space so that there's a location where entrepreneurs can come? You know, shared space, shared services, those types of things? Or are you really looking to provide the services? The services I know are top, you know, but you're talking about it and needed. There's entities out there that do some of that stuff, but the space sometimes can get difficult for entrepreneurs because it's expensive. Did you have a priority, you know, in how you approach this? And I also wanted to ask, how did you come by your space? How did
That was before I moved in still.
okay.
I don't know, I
But it's
don't know
great
the
to have a
history
building,
of
but
it,
it's
yeah.
just, you know,
So it's an old
Validator.
bank, yeah, it's an old bank building.
yeah.
Currently occupied by Stilton Community Cats, who was a part of the foundation developing, so they were a startup group that came to the foundation to build their nonprofit. But I'm not sure how we came into the building.
Okay.
That was 2000, maybe even a little bit before that, yeah.
What building is that? Is that the?
It's the old boys and.
That's the old boys.
Yes.
Right at the, sure.
Right there at the corner, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So to answer your question, I want to say both. It is the services, but it is the space. In our borough building, we don't have the space. So, you know, to have a place that, yes, entrepreneurs can come, where we can have meetings, we can, you know, do these seminars or whatever it takes. I know like there's programs like SCORE, and I know that there's other programs that work, you know, on a funding basis with entrepreneurs. But we in Stilton like to support each other, so, you know, we like to do our own thing. So, you know, it is the space, but it is also bringing in those other resources to help not only educate, as I said before, educate the businesses, but also educate us as well.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage you, and I know George can probably give you a long list of connections. You know, because there's a lot of experience with incubators and this type of stuff within this building, George's office with Creedic, of course, but tying in at Franklin centers, small business development centers. There's really good resources that the state funds significantly, the federal government funds significantly. But I would just encourage you, I think the space probably is the unique thing or the valuable thing you have, that if you can provide an asset or a location that sort of takes that burden away, you know, if you have the infrastructure, you have some shared resources, conference room space, office space, those kinds of things, that can be very valuable to a startup. But I do, it is very expensive, to do some of the programming things, because you have staff, you have, those kinds of things you have to tie in. But I think there are, correct me if I'm wrong, George, I think there are those kind of resources out there that you probably could utilize. And they're probably already funded, or somebody's already paying them, whether it's the state, federal government, that you can really just utilize to support your effort. But that's a cool building you have.
Yes.
A good spot there, I know, and again, I think that's probably the best asset.
So how do you measure your success? Like 5 years from now, how would you say, this was great, or this was okay, or not, none of them?
Probably a revitalized downtown area. We have a lot of empty storefronts.
Okay.
Having those
So
storefronts
filling in a
filled.
couple of them is a success. Okay.
I mean, business is tough now. And it's just because of Amazon, everyone ordering stuff online, people don't really go out and shop as much.
No, I love the bookstore idea that you mentioned, because I love browsing in a bookstore, but you're right, how does that survive? Yeah.
It's difficult. I mean, it's not really anyone's fault. It's just the nature of the beast, how society has changed. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day about when Walmart came in on 322. All the local businesses were upset. They were complaining about Walmart putting them out of business. And these are mom and pops that were in business 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
They went out of business because of Walmart. I mean, it's a tough situation. And now Walmart's battling with Amazon. I mean, it seems to me like people only go physically shopping during the holidays. Any other time,
You're in your recliner.
yeah. I mean, it's tough. We gotta kind of change up the game and make it something that they physically need to go out for.
No more questions for you?
So I think, what is QME 4,925?
That is an online hub. We may or may not utilize them. It's a hub for local businesses to be online together.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so the 45,000, the current tenants at your building, are they paying any rent? Okay.
Yes.
The 45,000, is any portion of that rent for the building or mortgage payments?
Oh, the 45,000 for office space, infrastructure and equipment.
Yep.
That's to help renovate some of the interior space. It has good bones.
Okay.
It just needs to be, yes, essentially updated a little bit.
I like pretty.
And so, I'm sorry if this has been answered and I'm just not understanding. The 25,000 to Harrisburg, that's just for the initial feasibility study?
The feasibility study to develop a plan that will work for Steelton.
Okay.
So that might be identifying businesses that Steelton needs in the downtown area. I mean, right now, we've got a health center right across from the Borough building. Whoever thought that would ever happen? And there it is. So we're trying to build on the momentum and continue it.
Okay. And do you know what you get with the 25,000? Do you know how many staff? Do you know a timeline at all? Do you have specifics? Okay.
No, but it's essentially in their proposal to us, it's a flat fee of 25,000. They're going to bring their team. I don't know how many folks that entails to assist us in reviewing an incubation, or does it need to be a business co-op model, and the resources and capital we can go after to help continue those efforts.
So that's a one-time,
That's a one-time,
and they deliver
a plan.
a plan or something.
Yes. And if, if we decide to partner with them in the future,
Sure.
I don't know the answer to that until we've actually gone through the study and to see, what they would provide for us.
So is the Harrisburg contract separate from the building, or will
Yeah.
Harrisburg be located?
It's separate.
Okay.
It's separate.
And then what was the first, or when was the organization founded? Has there been work prior to this year?
I have to look at the application because I don't remember. Are you asking when the foundation?
Yeah.
It was in the 80s. I
Oh,
don't have an exact date, but.
okay. So you talked about the CATS organization that's still in there.
Mhm.
Do you have other examples of success stories or anything like that with other organizations that have come up through the foundation?
The wrestling program?
The wrestling program. So the foundation over the course of time has had its ups and downs just as far as participation.
Right.
Our senior center as
Okay.
well is a participant. So depending on who is running and on leadership kind of determines where they've been in the past.
Okay.
With me becoming chair, and I also sit on Stoughton Borough Council. It has, my thing is economic development. I see these empty storefronts and I see the turnover in businesses, and, economic development is just more than businesses. It's also housing and food and, supply and all this other stuff. So I look at it as, in the past, it was more for helping nonprofits develop. Since I've been a part of the foundation, it's more about bringing in services and truly helping those in our community. So it really, it's been all over the place over time, I guess.
And how long have you been involved?
As chair for a year.
Okay.
Good for you for doing this council work and this work. That's great.
How does something like that, Evan, I mean, I get it, it's volunteer based, right?
Yes.
The grand scheme of things. But does anything happen if it's inactive for a certain amount of time? Do you have to
Yeah, so I would
file
say,
something?
yeah,
or-
yes.
No?
Not to just keep the entity that carries on, until you file something to dissolve.
Interesting. That's something that first ones. Any other questions?
Just one more. Say you were to only get a partial award, do you have a priority between the Harrisburg contract and the building renovations?
Harrisburg contract.
Did you anticipate that question?
No,
We think pretty similar.
one wouldn't know what to do if we
Yeah.
just renovated the building. I think the more valuable thing is the Harrisburg contract. EPA brownfield study might help us with the building itself, so.
There's no other questions? Good luck to you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, again.
It's Club 320. Oh, he's back. We were gonna go without you, Dave. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Dave, you want me to set this one up or you?
I don't know what to do. Am I supposed to just,
So,
Club 320.
I'm sorry. Well,
Thank you.
thanks for being here. So if you would, we are being streamed. Just identify yourselves, who you represent, and your request. You guys have roughly 15 minutes for your presentation. I'll set a timer for 12, so if that goes off, we just need to start wrapping things up.
Okay.
With that said, the floor is yours.
My name is Jeannie Bragg, and I'm the Vice President of Club 320 North Front Street in Sealton, PA.
My name is Vicki Daniels. I'm president of Club 320, 320 North Front Street, Stilton, PA. Did we just? Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so, we are here, to attain funding, for our building, to upgrade it, to improve it. Kind of in a nutshell, we were kind of looking at the building and what's going on in Stilton and Front Street, and things were being redeveloped, but our building is over, I think you have the right copy, but our building's over 100 years old. It's like 160 years old. And there has been a roof put on maybe 40 years ago, but other than the upgrades to that were made, once the firehouse closed, the FOP purchased it as a club. And then it went to the Home Association. And then under new management, it became Club 320. So prior to, I've only been president for 4 years, and I've been a member for a little over 10. So prior to that, the only information I can gather is there was a roof put on. And of course, it was painted, but nothing else, not too much of anything else. The electrical system, these are like different things we've been looking at. And so I happened to run into Danae House, and she told me about the grant. And so we were kind of running in the back seat, trying to get things together. So excuse me if I'm not doing this correctly or whatever, but I'm doing this on the seat of my pants.
You're doing fine so far.
So I'm gonna just read off of the questions here. Okay.
Before you begin, what does Club 320 do? Is it a social club?
Yes, it's a social club, but we're also community service based.
Because I saw the nonprofits.
Yes, we do that, So, we have about 200 members, and we provide services over Dauphin County. So we don't just provide service in Stilton, we do Harrisburg, we do Middletown, we do High Spire. We give scholarship money for students if they're registered in school. They have to be registered because we send the funds directly to the school. We don't give the funds to the student. And that's to supplement books and things like that. We do a big breast cancer event. I'm a breast cancer survivor, so I really go way out for it. But we do the walk, and we do raffles. We do collections, we sell things, we make baskets, anything we can to make money for that. And then in November, we do Thanksgiving baskets. We go into the community, or we'll notify the schools and ask, for people who we think would be, just struggling a little and need some help. So we give a turkey and a full basket of food. Potatoes, anything you would need for a Thanksgiving meal, we give that, and a dessert. So this year we did 9 baskets.
GPS signal lost.
We do Toys for Tots. We are an official Toys for Tots station, so not only do we collect toys,
we're in contact with them, so when they get names of people, they notify their different, I don't wanna say vendor, but you know, the different areas where you can go. So we also service the people they send to us, so people from, Stilton, Middletown, and High Spire usually sign up with Club 320. That day, we do a breakfast, totally, donated by us. I mean, the food, we give the children breakfast and then their parents. We usually do a memorable craft, some kind of craft with the year on it so that the kids can take this craft home with them. And then we have a Santa Claus who distributes the toys that we get from Toys for Tots. So it's like an eventful day. It's a really fun day. So we've also done fire victims. We've had people reach out to us who have fire. I think we did a flood one time. She's reading. I'm trying to bounce off of her. But we did some flood victims before, you know, just light things whenever we could. After COVID, we've been struggling. I'm sure a lot of business, you probably hear that. So we've kind of been struggling since COVID, but we still try to do what we can, you know, for the community so that we can maintain that community service basis. So we also have 2 gentlemen who are veterans and have established stand down in our building. So if someone is a veteran and needs guidance as to where to go for help or some assistance, then they can come there during our hours. These gentlemen are always there to reach out to them, to the homeless. Well, I can only remember 2 guys that I met, but sometimes they meet the guys and they don't really come in the club, but they come here to meet the gentlemen who do that. We give to other organizations, the David Booby Bowers Scholarship Fund. We've given to Stilton cheerleaders, Harrisburg High football boosters, and we give every year to the Bethesda Mission to their men's and women's program. As far as the renovations to be granted, if not awarded, we are broke, and we ask our members to help. So we recently got the men's room remodeled, and it was through members. I purchased the materials.
This is the men's bathroom.
The men's
so
bathroom,
toilets and
yes.
sinks and
I
faucets.
purchased the sink, toilet, thing, everything. And then.
Out of your own pocket.
Out of my pocket, yes.
She does a lot of that.
And I did too
And I
much.
do too.
I do, they volunteer to put it in. So, and then I went and bought, items for the ladies' room. So they didn't get that far yet, but we
I
have.
kind
our
of did a
members.
mild takeover on it and cleaned it up and fixed it up, but it needs some,
It needs
yeah, some work.
major work.
I mean,
major
it's
work.
not that it's bad or
Mhm.
anything, but just needs to spruce up.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I'm backseat riding this journey with how to get funding. I learned about this through Danae, but through my research, I spoke with another young lady who wasn't on the board, but she told me I need to contact, I don't have the information here, but through Dauphin County, like there's other monies available and other programs that I probably could speak to, you know, about getting funding, but I really haven't done that yet, to be honest. So funding sources, the historical nature. So back to the building. So the building was one of the original firehouses in Stilton. It is the second firehouse in Stilton. And it was called the Paxton Hook and Ladder, and it was organized in September 15th, 1888. So the building is, like I said, like over 160 something years old. Yeah, my math is off. And it was the first horse-drawn fire engine. And then they moved on to the aerial, and then there's kind of like a blank in the information other than it becoming the FOP club and FOP and then the Home Association until now to Club 320. In the back, there's a kitchen on there now, but that kitchen was not part of the original building. So I think I put like in my phase 3,
You said that needs to be lifted?
right, we had, water doctors come in and look at it because it kind of tilts a little to the side. And that is a flood zone. So the gentleman said that from floods, because it's been through 2 floods, that the base shifted a little. I tried to research the paperwork, the building codes, whatever, who built the addition. There is no information on it. But the gentleman said there's a process. They can go in with these poles that they drill underground, and they can lift the building, and it's 10 times better than, it's almost like earthquake equipment. It's 10 times better than regular mortar of the building. So, but that was later because it's really pricey, but it's something that probably needs to be done. They said the building is not in danger of falling, but it is shifting because of the water and weather and wear. So the timeline, now the first thing we need done like immediately would be the roof. I was only able to get one estimate because of when I found out about the grant, how much time I had, to get the paperwork into Stilton Borough. Mr. Navarro came out and gave us an estimate, and he said it'll take about a month because it's I'm trying to say, like the back roof goes this way, the front roof goes this way, and then there's an A in the middle. So he said that's going to take some extra time. So that will be the first phase. And then the second phase is the bricks. Not all the bricks need pointed, but I noticed that the other buildings on Front Street that were a part of Stilton's revitalization, they painted the outside. To me, it looks neat. I mean, it just looks much better. And so we need some painting done also. We have a front window frame that the paint is peeling. So, and one of our members did say that, he may be able to do that for us. I've got my fingers crossed and praying that he said he could do that for us, so.
We do have a lot of members who volunteer work for us and do stuff for us. And the men sometimes are really great.
Yeah. So, and then the phase 3, the Baker's waterproofing. Yeah, they would, I have the paperwork for them. I think I sent it in the original packet where they describe what they would do, how they would jack up the building, and then they put these poles in it and lift it up so that it's up. It won't be sitting ground level, but it'll be sitting on posts and then filled in with dirt. But they said that it's much better, so. Okay, so, oh yeah, talk a little faster, okay. The companies, Navarro and then the brick pointing company, both bring their own workers. So there won't be jobs created extra for this. I don't know of any fraud or theft, we run a pretty tight ship. We've never had anything like that under Club 320. I don't know of any litigation, like we don't have any liens or anything against our property. We own the property. The building is paid for, it's owned by the membership. So once you become a member, you are a part owner in Club 320. So again, I talked about the Stilton Borough and their revitalization plan, and they wanted to focus on older buildings, but we have a very old building that no one contacted. Like no one from Stilton Borough said, hey, Vicki, we want to, fix up Front Street, and would you like to be part of it? So Jeannie and I and the rest of our board, we have a board of 9 members, just started talking about, hey, let's reach out and see what we can do to get this building back where it needs to be, just to.
It's a nice little building.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's sturdy, like I said, and it's lived through these floods, the floods in Stilton, so we just would like to preserve the building, preserve the history of the building. As far as community support, the mayor has had events in the club. I did not talk to her specifically about the program, but she was in my meeting with Stilton Borough and said, quote unquote, it's not in writing from her words to me, but that she was in support of it and that she thought it would be something nice, but I did not go specifically to Stilton Borough when they were doing their revitalization. So the last information, was from her. So that's my
So you've been president 4 years,
4 years,
but a
yes,
member longer than that.
10 years, yes.
So you
I've been
became
member for
president during
25
COVID.
years.
Wait a minute, huh?
You became president during COVID.
Yes, I did. Our president at that time stepped down and I stepped up.
Okay.
And I've been on the board approximately 10 years, vice president for the last 2 or 3, and previously secretary and trustee.
Okay.
And I've been member for over 20 years. We have a really good, it's an older group of people that come in there. That a lot of from Stilton, everybody knows everybody in there. We have a really secure building where we have security to get in and out of it. And the building just really needs a good facelift to keep up. But it's a beautiful old building that's, was built in 1888 and has been going strong ever since. And like I said, we just really need some help to try to get the building in good shape to keep going with all of our little ventures that we do.
So in addition to the Christmas breakfast, I'll call it,
Mhm.
do you have other community functions that you do in there, or can you rent it out? Like, did the mayor rent it?
Yeah, well, I didn't charge her.
Okay, but.
But she could, yes, you can rent. We have a second floor.
Yep.
That houses about 150 people.
Okay.
I learned a bad lesson with renting to kids. So
We don't do
we
that.
don't do that
We just
anymore.
do all,
But we
we
will
have a
rent.
lot of like
we-
election
Election.
afterwards,
Yeah.
You could have showers there,
campaign
bridal
parties,
shower,
yeah.
baby shower.
Yeah, but I will,
everything.
the second floor we will rent to adults. We've had, a wine set there and birthday parties. Oh, yeah, the first floor. So sometimes people come to us who, of course, have death in the family and they can't really afford the repass or facility to pay for a repass. So, I let them use the club for free. I don't just go out and say, hey, come here for free. But if someone reaches out to me, says, hey, Vic, I'm in dire need, I don't have anywhere else to go, I need somewhere to go, I will allow them to use the club. We provide like paper plates, stern-on, stuff like that. All we ask is they bring their own food and clean up, so,
And we do occasionally still donate food also.
yeah.
We do that too.
Somewhat of a community center.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is. It's a happy little family. Like I said, everything's, since COVID, have gone down a little bit. And the funds aren't quite as happy as they used to be, People are staying home a lot more, but we're doing all right. We're keeping our own.
Yeah.
And we
I'm getting along.
we were able to, this summer, we went ahead and got a brand new air conditioning unit
Mhm.
because we had, our air conditioner was leaking. It was crazy stuff, but
Well, the compressor went out.
yeah, the compressor went out. We had a man that came in and put the new side units in, which were
Mhm.
more economical and nicer, and it takes care of the heat.
The slip.
Yeah, it takes care of the heat, the air
Right,
conditioning and everything.
And I forgot to mention, so we have Small Games of Chance. We do have a, Small Games of Chance license. So a lot of the profit from Small Games of Chance, like the 60-40 split, our cut, we usually use for what we need, like cleaning products,
And a portion of it goes into our charitable.
Right, that's the
Account,
60,
too.
yeah, the 60-40
Yeah,
split.
that's our charitable account.
So we use that. I mean, we beg, borrow, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you wanna come down here and volunteer, I say yes. Come on in, and when do you wanna be there? I don't turn any help down, so.
So is your priority the roof?
First, because it's leaking. And we had the second floor painted, but now that the roof is leaking, the paint's peeling, and it's older drywall like that, what do they call it, sand and concrete? Plaster. Coming apart.
So it's
yeah.
like.
Yeah, just gooey on the wall.
Just the
Like those
outside,
bubbly-
mostly all brick, but there is wood trim around the big windows up there, so it's mostly all brick. It sustains itself, but If there is painting that needs done on the upstairs and the trim of the building.
Right, right. But I was looking at doing the roof first.
Yeah.
And then, like the pointing and stuff to get like the exterior up the bar.
Make the building look good.
So that the outside looks presentable. I mean, there's a lot of new buildings and people that redid their buildings on Front Street, and ours is the only one that's not done. I mean,
You
all
have to
the,
keep up with the Joneses.
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like revitalization,
Sure.
brand new buildings, apartment houses, you know, that whole
The
one road,
restaurants,
they ripped everything
yeah,
down. and
the senior
everything's going up
center is
new.
down there now, the high rise, what's called the brick house. They have apartment buildings down there. I mean, like, they're building up and they're growing up and we want to grow up with them, so.
I'd be careful with the acid washing of your historic building and your DK construction.
Oh, you know,
They're
see,
cleaning up, I would.
they did another building down the street and, I reached out to him because I saw him working on, actually, there's a dress shop that there was an accident, someone ran into the building and knocked the foundation off. And he was working there, so I questioned him about brickwork. And that's how I got that information. But when we get to that point, because someone else, I got another, I can't remember. It was one of our members said to be careful about painting the brick. Because he said like in 10 or 15 years, that paint's gonna peel. And then you're gonna have to paint all over. So he said.
It's never been painted anyway.
No, but everyone else on
Is the
French.
front of yours painted?
That's the woodwork.
Just the garage.
Where the
used to
garage
be.
door was,
Yeah.
that's replaced with a big wooden panel.
Mhm.
Where the engine, you know, where the door is going to the firehouse. Upstairs is 3 big windows with trim, but the front is all brick. And the
No,
whole one side is brick.
not the window frame. It's
Well, I
like a
said,
metal.
yeah, the window.
It's like a metal, you know, probably what they used 100 years ago.
But paintable.
But yes, it can be painted.
No, painting the brick was never an option.
Well, I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I asked him about pointing and things.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you much.
Thank you. Thank you. And you can come down there and volunteer.
Thank you.
And give us good advice. We take all advice. I don't turn any good advice down.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it.